I leaned over the parapet of my balcony 15 floors up. Down below, the evening budgeon ritual was getting started. The building watchman was setting up gray plastic chairs in a semicircle, neatly tucked between a sleek red Honda and a black Chevrolet SUV. I looked up at the maze of skyscrapers. Yardley Gardens was one of Mumbai's fanciest townships, a world away from the humble, cobwebbed corners of Nashik where my family used to live. The setting sun made me squint, so I retreated to my comfy bamboo swing and picked up my book again. Honestly, there are few things better than an evening breeze and the delicious pages of Adiga S. The White Tiger. It was almost 6, and I could hear the boys playing football downstairs. A part of me really wanted to join them, but I just clung to my novel. I didn't want to open my mouth and make a fool of myself. I remembered a saying, it's better to stay silent and be thought-wise than open your mouth and be proven foolish, or something like that. It didn't matter, I wasn't going. My 10th standard was starting in a few days and I was a little nervous. This whole move was a massive culture shock. My dad's new job paid 3 times more than his old one and came with a ton of perks. We got this company apartment, a Tata sedan, and even discount coupons for restaurants. A personal pizza was no longer something the whole family had to share. We could go to restaurants and I could order appetizers and overpriced Cokes without getting a warning look. Just thinking about it made me hungry. I got up from the swing. "Ma, can I have some money?" "I want to go out and eat something," I yelled into the house. Her voice came from the living room. "Why do you want to go outside?" I found her knitting red and white yarn balls sitting beside her. "Your grandmother packed us some—" "Mom!" I cut her off. "These kids today," she muttered, but she wasn't annoyed. She's been in a great mood since we moved. She'd even made me take parathas to our new neighbors, ignoring my protests of, "But what do I say to them?" What happened next is something I really hope I'll laugh about in 20 years. She put down the scarf she was knitting for my grandma and reached for her purse. Back in our old town, my mom and grandma used to bicker constantly. But the day we left, I saw my mom crying in my grandma's lap, and even my stoic grandma couldn't hold back her tears. "Don't spend all of it," my mom said, handing me a crisp 100-rupee note. Gandhiji was grinning at me from it. The elevator doors opened to a surprisingly electric atmosphere. I mean, you expect a fancy colony like this to be quiet, sophisticated, but the noise these kids were making playing Ringa Ringa, catch, hopscotch, it almost felt like I was back in Nashik. I avoided eye contact and walked toward the main gate. The path was blocked by a team of sweaty boys my age playing football, yelling their heads off. Let me tell you about me and football. First, I hate it. Second, and not because of the first point, I'm terrible at it. But that doesn't stop me from admiring a good game when I see one. And I had to admire this one kid in the midfield. He was a bit heavy, but he dribbled the ball like a pro. A tall, skinny kid lunged for it, but our guy just sidestepped and fired a perfect pass to a teammate. The ball hit the other kid's elbow. "Hand!" the first kid screamed and got a free kick. I was impressed. I stood there, watching from a distance, hoping they'd notice me and call me over. But they were too lost in the game, or maybe they just didn't care about a stranger staring at them. I stood there, completely ignored. Sighing, I headed for the exit. Spencer Mall nearby is more like a 2-story convenience store. I was thrilled to see an escalator and hopped right on. The first floor has a small cafeteria with a few round tables. A glass counter on the left advertised the best Frankies in town. I have to confess, I had no idea what a Frankie was. I worried they'd be so expensive that my newfound rich kid pride would vanish. At the top of the escalator, you make a U-turn to face the cafeteria. I sat at an empty table and looked at the menu. The prices were a relief. A basic veg Frankie was about 40 rupees. My eyes landed on the Szechuan paneer Frankie. That sounded interesting. I walked up to the glass-top counter to order, and that's when I saw her, the girl behind the counter. "Hi!" "And what would you—" It wasn't just a polite smile. It was a smile of recognition, like she'd known me for ages, and I was her favorite customer. I unconsciously bit on my braces. Her teeth were perfect, pearly white. Her hair was thick, black, and so shiny. One lock of hair fell perfectly across her forehead.